Welcome to The Lifted Lens, the podcast, where strategy meets soul, helping motherhood and family photographers build a business that fits their life, not the other way around. Hello, and welcome back to the Lifted Lens podcast. Today's episode is going to be a really chatty one because I know so many photographers listening are mums too. And honestly, trying to balance motherhood and running a business is something that I feel like I'm constantly figuring out as I go. And with two boys, aged 4 and 8, life definitely feels full on most of the time. One minute I'm replying to an inquiry and the next I'm looking for a missing school shoe or signing a reading record or trying to remember which day that one of the boys has PE and they need their PE kits. I think before having children, I imagined working for myself as a mum would feel really calm and flexible all the time, like slow mornings and working peacefully during nap times, having loads of time to do everything. And whilst there are moments where I sit there and I think, wow, I'm so grateful that this is my life, there are also a lot of chaotic moments as well. Editing whilst someone is asking for the snacks every 5 minutes, replying to voice notes in the car just before the school pickup, trying to squeeze in work into all those little gaps whilst also kind of wanting to try and actually be present with my boys as well. And honestly, I think it's one of the hardest things is that when you care really deeply about both your family and your business, it can feel constantly like your brain is just kind of split in two because when I'm working, there's always that guilt that I'm not being fully present at home. And then when I'm fully with my boys and present with them, there's still that little part of my brain that's thinking about the business, about that email that I need to reply to, the gallery I need to send out, the Instagram post that I forgot to share. And I think so many mums in business carry that invisible mental load all the time without really talking about it. I think motherhood has changed me massively though, not just personally, but creatively as well. I care so much less about perfection now. Before children, I definitely tied a lot of my worth to my productivity. Feeling really busy felt that I was successful, felt productive. I always felt like I should be doing more. Now, honestly, I crave a lot more softness, a more calmer business, more balance, more presence, more space to actually just enjoy my life alongside my work. And I think becoming a mum has genuinely made me a better photographer because I just notice things differently now. Like the little cuddles, the chaos, the tiny little expressions, the way that children kind of naturally reach for their parents. And I think it just, has made me a better photographer. I think when you become a parent yourself, then you suddenly realize how quickly things can change. And that's why family photography feels really emotional to me now, because it's not really about perfection. It's about remembering the season and how it actually felt and the ordinary little moments that one day won't feel ordinary anymore. And it's just a privilege to be able to capture that for my clients. I also think that running a business as a mum can feel really overstimulating sometimes. I know that's a bit of an overused word now because there's never really like a switch off. Your business is always there on your phone. Your emails are always there. Instagram is always there. And especially when you work from home, the lines between work life and home life can get really blurry really quickly. There have definitely been seasons where I felt like I was just constantly on, always replying, always editing, and always thinking about work. And honestly, I kind of reached a point where I realized I didn't actually start this business to just spend my whole life just stressed and glued to the computer. I started it because I wanted that freedom around the school runs and the holidays, freedom to be able to kind of go to the school events and have slower mornings, build my work around my family life rather than the other way around. And it is a privilege. I think sometimes it's really easy to kind of lose sight of that when you're caught up in that online comparison because social media can make it feel like everyone else is constantly doing more than you. They're launching all the time, they're posting more, growing faster. But honestly, I think motherhood just forces you to become more intentional with your time because you generally do have less time than somebody that doesn't have children. You physically can't do everything. And maybe that's not actually a bad thing because I've definitely become much more protective of my energy over the last couple of years as well. I used to push through constant exhaustion, editing late every night, working every spare second that I could. And it was harder, I think, when I had children that were, I always say you're more in the trenches when you have children under school age children, so toddlers, babies. It is a lot harder to, time is so much more limited. But yeah, burnout doesn't help anybody. It's not going to help your family or your clients, and it's definitely not going to help with your creativity. And I think some of my best ideas actually come when I'm not forcing myself to work constantly. If I'm go to the beach for a walk or a sea swim, pottering in the garden. At the moment, we're renovating it, so it's not really pottering, but just doing things that isn't work related actually is when I get a lot of my best ideas. Sitting with a coffee when the boys are at school, allowing myself, because I feel like we are always in that kind of constant needing to be busy all the time, go, go, go. Sometimes I feel like I'm just running on like times two speed, if that makes sense. I just go from one thing to the next. And I forget that actually, no, I can just sit down and have a coffee. And I don't have to be listening to a podcast at the same time or answering an email or emptying the dishwasher. I can just sit for 5 minutes with the coffee and do nothing. Yeah, you don't even have to be practicing mindfulness or meditating. Just sitting and doing nothing is fine. I think as mums, we are often taught to feel guilty for resting and slowing down. We always feel like there's something we should be doing. But I actually think that slowing down can be just as productive in its own way. And when you start to kind of have that mindset and think about rest in that way, that it's actually productive and it's going to help you in your business in the long run, that can actually be life-changing. And if you're listening to this whilst you're trying to build a business around motherhood as well, then I just want to say that you are genuinely not behind. Please don't compare yourself to other photographers that don't have children because it is different. They're going to take longer. You're not going to have the same kind of growth because you are more limited with your time, and that's okay. You don't have to edit every night. You don't have to be available 24/7. If the only days that you can work are Mondays and Fridays, that's absolutely fine. Those are the days that you work. You don't have to constantly be proving yourself online. You're allowed to build something slower and softer, and in the long run, probably more sustainable as well. And I think there's something really powerful about building a business that supports your life instead of taking over it. I think success to me looks really different now than it used to. Before children, success would have been more about more bookings, more money, more work and growth. And now sometimes success just looks like finishing work early and sitting in the garden whilst the boys play on the trampoline, being able to take time off in the school holidays without panicking, and building a business that just allows me to still feel really creative and fulfilled whilst also being present for my family as well. And I honestly think that's enough. That to me is success. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Lifted Lens. If you're listening whilst you are editing or driving or putting away washing or on the school run, I listen to a lot of podcasts on the school run, or maybe hiding in the kitchen with a coffee for 5 minutes peace, then honestly, same. I'd absolutely love it if you can share this episode on Instagram and tag me, please, if you're listening. And if you can take 2 minutes of your time to leave me a little review, would be absolutely fantastic. I'd be forever grateful. Thank you. And if nobody has told you this lately, then you're doing a really good job. You're balancing all the things, even when it doesn't feel like it. You're doing amazing. So well done. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.